Hello friends, welcome to Tandavex. Tejas Mk2 vs F-16 Block 70, full analysis. Friends, we all know Pakistan's Air Force backbone is the F-16, and China operates a large number of fighters with similar capabilities and size. That's why I consider the F-16 as a standard opponent, and in the current time, buying fighter jets with less capability than an F-16 class fighter is foolish. So it is important to understand the capability of any modern jet against an F-16-like fighter. On the other hand, India is preparing to induct the Tejas Mk2 in large numbers, over 120 units planned in the first batch. That makes it necessary to carefully analyze how such a scenario might play out. In this video, we're going to break it down step by step. Part 1, radar detection and RCS calculation. Part 2, side-by-side comparison. Part 3, battle scenarios. Part 4, timeline of the battle. And finally, we'll wrap it up with some concluding thoughts. So let's get started. Part 1, radar detection and RCS calculation. Let's start with radar and stealth. Radar detection range depends on both the power of the radar and the radar cross-section, or RCS, of the target. And here's the key rule. Detection range scales with the fourth root of the target's RCS. F-16 Block 70 radar, AN APG-83 SABR. Official max detection 135 kilometers against a 1 meter squared target. Tejas Mk2 RCS fully loaded, 1 to 1.2 meter squares. Scale detection range to 130 to 135 kilometers. Tejas Mk2 radar, Uttam Mk2 ASA baseline detection 170 kilometers against a 1 meter squared target. F-16 RCS fully loaded, 3 to 5 meter squares. Scale detection range 200 to 240 kilometers. Tejas Mk2 additional advantage. Uttam Mk2 is designed with higher TR module count and GAN technology, giving stronger ECCM and multi-target tracking. Even with jamming present, detection superiority over F-16 remains 50 to 80 kilometers. Bottom line on sensors, Tejas Mk2's Uttam radar detects the F-16 much earlier, often by a margin of 90 to 100 kilometers. That is very huge, and in modern BVR combat, those extra seconds and longer missile reach can decide the battle before it even begins. Part 2, side-by-side comparison. Feature, Tejas Mk2, F-16 Block 70. Origin, India. USA, role, medium multi-role, length 14.65 mm, max 17.5 tons, 19.2 tons. Engine, GEF 490 kN thrust, GEF 110 or PW 229, 130 kN thrust. Thrust to weight 1.07, max speed Mach 1.8, Mach 2.0. Combat radius 800 to 1,000 kilometers, 700 to 800 kilometers. Radar, Uttam Mk2 AESA, and APG-83 SABR SABR, RC loaded 1.2 mid squares, 3 to 5 mid squared. Payload by 6.5 tons, 7.7 plus tons. Hardpoints 11.9. BVR missiles, Astra Mecha 1 to 300 kilometers, AM-120 AMRAAM 120 to 160 kilometers. WVR missiles, Python 5 AS-73, AM-9 at gun, GSH-23 M61 Vulcan 20 mm. Cost per unit 55 to 60 manners, est 70 to 80 cost operating hour. 6 to 7 kids, 7 to 8 3. Battle scenarios. Now let's imagine how a one-on-one fight might unfold. No AWACS, no external support, just jet versus jet. Beyond visual range. In the BVR phase, Tejas Mk2 holds a huge edge. Its radar detects the F-16 first, often by a margin of 90 plus kilometers. This early detection allows Tejas to prepare and launch Astra Mk2-3 missiles at ranges of 180 to 200 kilometers. In contrast, the F-16 only detects Tejas when the distance closes to about 130 kilometers, at which point it can respond with an AM-120. A Monte Carlo simulation with 100,000 iterations confirmed this dynamic. Tejas detected and fired first in about 90% of cases, while the F-16 managed to react first in only 10%. This proves the engagement is not one-sided, but Tejas almost always has the initiative. Within visual range, WVR, if both jets survive the initial BVR exchange and the fight closes to visual range, the dynamics change slightly. Tejas Mk2, though larger than Mk1A, still has a smaller RCS and excellent agility. Equipped with high off-bore sight Python 5 and ASRAAM, it can deliver deadly strikes from extreme angles. The F-16, however, has more raw thrust. In a turning fight that drags on, it can recover speed and energy faster than Tejas. That means in prolonged engagements, the F-16 regains some balance. But in short, high agility exchanges, Tejas often has the upper hand. Likely outcomes. BVR phase. Tejas Mk2 dominates in most cases due to vastly earlier detection and first launch. WVR phase. Tejas remains competitive thanks to agility and missiles, though F-16 can claw back in long fights. Overall, in an isolated duel, Tejas Mk2 is fully capable of neutralizing and potentially defeating the F-16 Block 70. Dash Part 4. Timeline of the battle. Here's how such an engagement might unfold step by step. Initial detection. Tejas Mk2's radar is the first to make contact, picking up the F-16 at roughly 220 kilometers. The Tejas pilot now has valuable time to plan the engagement. First missile launch. Around a minute later, while the F-16 is still unaware, Tejas launches an Astra Mk2 from a range of about 190 kilometers. F-16 reacts. Only as the distance shrinks to 130 kilometers does the F-16's radar finally detect the Tejas. The F-16 reacts by firing an AM-120, but by this point the Tejas missile is already halfway to its target. Missile exchange. The F-16 must immediately break formation and perform defensive maneuvers to evade the incoming Astra, which reduces its ability to maintain a strong offensive posture. Possible outcomes. If the Astra connects, the fight ends here. Tejas secures the kill before the F-16's missile can even close in. If the missile is defeated by countermeasures or evasion, the battle continues. Dogfight merge. Both aircraft close rapidly, and within minutes they are at visual range. The merge brings them face to face. Tejas' agility and smaller RCS give it an edge in the initial turns, making it a difficult target for the F-16 to track visually and electronically. Prolonged fight. If the dogfight drags on, the F-16's superior thrust begins to show, allowing it to recover energy and re-engage with strength. This timeline highlights the razor-thin margins of modern air combat. But unlike Mk1A, Tejas Mk2 controls the fight from the start. Final words. Early we all knew that the Tejas Mk2 was going to be more powerful than the F-16. But how much more powerful? That was the question. Now we have the answer. With updated radar and RCS numbers, it's clear that Tejas Mk2 will always detect and shoot first against F-16 class fighter jets. That early detection, combined with Astra Mk2 and Mk3 missiles, makes Tejas Mk2 an extremely dangerous opponent in BVR combat. And in close combat, Tejas' agility, smaller RCS, and advanced missiles keep it competitive even against the higher thrust F-16. In short, Tejas M2 isn't just a challenger. It's a clear step ahead of the F-16 Block 70 and similar fighters that exist in large numbers in Pakistan and China. This means the IAF is not just matching the adversary, it is moving towards dominating the adversary. Closing remarks. So friends, in my next video I'm going to explain why the IAF is not really satisfied with more Tejas Mk1A numbers and why they are instead focused on building a large Tejas Mk2 fleet for the future. If you like this kind of analysis, then don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the bell icon for future updates.